All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken. Today, guys, we are here to review David Fincher's Panic Room on 4K. That is right, guys. Look, this was a first-time watch for me of, like, all the big David Fincher stuff. I'm pretty sure I've seen every David Fincher film now, with the exception of his most recent one that was on Netflix. I have not seen The Killing as of right now, but this was the big, like, David Fincher film that I had gone way too long without seeing, and I'm happy to have finally got a chance to sit down and check this one out on 4K, and there's also a Blu-ray included here as well. Now, I do also want to note that with Panic Room, if you want to get this on 4K and get the Blu-ray as well, both for the first time, guys. This has not been upgraded since the DVD era. And yes, I do have the DVD that I got at a Goodwill, I think, back in the day. This has not been upgraded since DVD. And I think it probably, since it came out in 2002, probably had a VHS tape, I would imagine as well. So if you want to get this on Blu-ray and 4K, you gotta get this Steelbook to do it. Now, this Steelbook is going for $34.49, so it's not like an astronomical price. It's not like $70 like Disney wants to charge you. But again, if you're not like super into Steelbooks to have to like get a Steelbook only to get a movie on 4K or Blu-ray, I'm not a huge fan of that. I know that some other people are not a huge fan of that as well. But yes, as of right now, guys, if the only way you can get Panic Room on 4K is if you get this Steelbook right here. It's still available. I'll leave the link down below in the description. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Panic Room on 4K. I'm going to give my thoughts on the movie. I like talking about the movies, guys. Then we're going to get into the 4K picture quality. I feel like there's a little bit of controversy. There always seems to be controversy with these 4Ks, with these like bigger name directors. And I think it's honestly just because like they're bigger name directors, so their movies are more out there, they're more viewed, they're under more scrutiny. I feel like when it comes to these restorations and transfers, I mean, James Cameron, of course, like every transfer that he does, like people just go through it with a fine-tooth comb to pick out anything like negative they can get, and for good reason for some of them. But some other ones are like, really? Like, I thought that was a really good 4K. And David Fincher is kind of becoming, I feel like, the new James Cameron. He's just now getting into doing a lot of his films on 4K, because we just got Seven, we got Zodiac last year, which I still have not watched. The Social Network also just came out. Now, I have The Social Network on 4K, my Columbia Classics Volume 2 set, so I'm not going to get that Steelbook of it, but that is also available if you want to get The Social Network on 4K. But yeah, always controversy, I feel like, with these bigger name directors and their 4K. So we're going to get into that. We're going to see if the controversy is justified or not in this review. We'll talk about the audio, special features. We'll do the unboxing of the Steelbook, all that good stuff. Before we get into it, guys, like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on Panic Room. Is this one of your favorite David Fincher films? Let me know in the comment section below. Okay, let's get into it, guys. This is directed by David Fincher. It's also written by David Koepp. I feel like I've been reviewing like a lot of stuff that David Koepp has done recently. Great cast in this film. I mean, Jodie Foster, a young Kristen Stewart's in this movie. This might be Kristen Stewart's first film. Jared Leto, Forrest Whitaker. You got Dwight Yoakam in this film, who I first saw in Sling Blade back in 1996. I used to be the biggest fan of Sling Blade. I watched that all the time. That needs a 4K, like 100%. We need a 4K for Sling Blade. But the cast in this is outstanding. But this is essentially, it's a home invasion thriller, and it really is. I feel like when this movie came out, like a lot of people didn't realize that this was a David Fincher film, like myself included. Like I remember when Panic Room came out, and to me, like I didn't realize that it was the same guy that did Fight Club or Seven or The Game back when it came out. I just thought it was a regular like thriller. I think that like as far as David Fincher's filmography, this one kind of sticks out because it really is just kind of straightforward. It doesn't do anything to really break the mold. It's not genre defining, it's not era defining, it doesn't take things to a new level like a lot of his other thrillers would in the 90s, like Fight Club, like Seven. You watch a film like Seven for the first time and that just like completely changed the game for crime thrillers. Panic Room doesn't really do that. What it does, like it does it very well. It's just a very well made solid home invasion thriller with some twists and turns along the way, and just good, like, solid characters that you're interested in, that you're invested in. And yeah, I really enjoyed this film. Right from the beginning, like, it kind of hooks you into Jodie Foster and Kristen Stewart's character as the mother and daughter, the recent divorcee. Her husband basically left her for another woman, and her daughter are looking for a new place. And they find this place, and it has a panic room in it, and they have to use that their very first night there because people try to break into the house to get money because it's somebody else's house, and they've got millions and they're coming in to take the money. Of course, Jodie Foster and Kristen Stewart know nothing about the money. They're just being intruded upon by Jared Leto and his gang, Dwight Yoakam and Forrest Whitaker. So just good characters. It's a good setup. You know the motivations. Everything's very clear. And the movie's just very, like, well put together and directed, and everything's just so well, like, laid out and orchestrated. You just have a really good sense of where everybody's at. So, and the camera work in this film is absolutely phenomenal. The way it moves around the house, the way it follows Jodie Foster, the way they do stuff with, like, sound in certain sequences to really, like, up the tension. It's just really well done. I honestly... I did not love the film. Like, this is not one that I'm going to be like, oh my God, I got to watch Panic Room again. I just love this movie. But at the same time, I really don't have anything negative to say about it. It's just a really, like, solid movie that moves at a good pace. It has good, like, nice set piece moments throughout to kind of keep things interesting, because you have a movie like this where people are essentially locked in a panic room for pretty much the entire film, and you got the intruders trying to get in. It could get stale. It could get a little boring after a while, especially after 2 hours, which this movie's almost 2 hours long. This movie never really gets boring because they find creative ways to keep things interesting. And like I said, guys, the characters and the performances are outstanding. Like, I thought the villains, like, when they were first introduced, were going to be a little bit one note, because that's how they're kind of presented. But as the movie goes, like, and you peel back the layers of who these people, like, actually are, it really provides a nice depth to them and their characters and their relationship with Jodie Foster and Kristen Stewart within context of this film. So I enjoyed it a lot. Great characters, great story, just very well directed. Like, it is just a solid David Fincher film. It wouldn't be among my top David Fincher films, but I wouldn't fault anybody for saying this was their favorite. I think this is a really, like, well-made movie for sure. Now, getting into the 4K transfer here, guys, you got a native 4K with Dolby Vision HDR10, and I'm going to try to get into this the best way that I can. Now, I'm not a professional, like, AV review channel. I don't see myself that way. I don't want you guys to see me that way. I really kind of approach these reviews from a very, like, mid-level average consumer perspective. And I do have a nice TV. I've got an LG OLED C2. I've got a pretty decent sound setup. I got a soundbar with a subwoofer that kind of simulates the 5.1 and the 7.1. So I really kind of come at these reviews from a very, like, average perspective. Now, there are reviews out there that are just painting this like it's one of the worst 4Ks in years. Like, it's up there with the James Cameron True Lies 4K, Terminator 2. I didn't see it that way. To me, like, this was a nice 4K. Like I said, it's a native 4K. You got Dolby Vision, you got HDR10, and it's clearly, guys, this has not had a Blu-ray or 4K. It's clearly better than the DVD. It clearly blows the DVD out of the water. I mean, this is standard definition, and with this, you got high definition and ultra high definition. So, of course, this is going to look better than the DVD. I heard complaints of color correction and David Fincher going in and tinkering with things and stuff like that. To me, when I watched the DVD and I compared the colors on the DVD, because the colors in this movie are very gloomy. Like, you basically have two, like, color palettes, I feel like. Inside the panic room, it's, like, really kind of bluish, almost like teal blue. And then outside the panic room, just in the actual house, it's very, like, almost pukey green colors. And that's the case on the DVD, and that's also the case here on the Blu-ray and the 4K. So I didn't see any, like, big substantial differences between the color of the DVD from back in the day. But come on, guys. Like, look, what are we doing here when we're talking about comparing a DVD to a Blu-ray and a 4K? Of course, this is going to look like so much better than a DVD, and it absolutely does. To me, the 4K looked great. It looked great. There were some like little nitpicks I can maybe toss at it. Like some of the scenes and sequences like inside the panic room, like Jodie Foster, Kristen Stewart, like their faces looked a little bit too clean, a little bit too slick for my liking, a little bit too sharp, I guess what I'm trying to say. And you'd be like, Ken, what are you talking about? Too sharp for a 4K? That sounds great. It just looked a little too smooth, a little too clean for my liking. Almost like a James Cameron 4K in that way. A little too waxy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But the definition is there. The clarity is there. It looks great. The scenes with the intruders, like in the actual house, all that stuff looks fantastic. Really, my only issues were like inside the panic room. I just didn't think it looked quite right. Like just how their skin looked and stuff like that. I didn't think it looked quite as natural as I would have liked it to. It looked a little bit too almost like animated. Now, this was shot on 35mm, but it was finished much like Inglourious Basterds and the Kill Bill movies, which we talked about those earlier this year. It was finished as a 2K digital intermediate. So this does say it's a native 4K, but I kind of feel like it's an upscale 4K from that 2K digital intermediate, and that was probably all that they could do. So I feel like that's why it might look a little bit unnatural, a little too sharp in some scenes and sequences, and just not fully like a native 4K presentation. But I still think it looks great. And from what I also heard, there was a lot of CGI, and there's one scene in this that you can notice the CGI like 100%. I was like, holy crap, that is CGI, and it does not look great. It comes like towards the end of the movie. But a lot of this movie was done in CGI. And again, as we learned with Inglourious Basterds, you can't really go back and do that like proper native 4K restoration when there was so much CGI and it was finished as a 2K digital intermediate. So if this doesn't look like all the way like 100% like that more classic film native 4K restoration, it's because of that. And again, that goes back to the original like source material. If you can't do something, then you can't do it. And if this is the best that they can do, and I trust that it's probably the best they could do because this is Sony and they're kind of known for their quality as far as their 4K remasters, then that's just something we have to deal with and adjust our expectations accordingly, because not every movie is made equally and not every 4K restoration can be made equally as well because of that. So you're going to get 4Ks that you're not exactly the most happy with because of the way that it was originally done back in the day. But I mean, taking all that out of it, like this is not a bad 4K like at all. From my viewing experience, I thought it was pretty damn good, and it's definitely an upgrade over the DVD. I don't understand anybody that could look at this and be like, I'll stick with my DVD. That would never make sense to me at all. Like if I want to watch Panic Room again, like I will 100% watch it on this 4K. It looks absolutely fantastic, as probably as good as it could be. Now getting into the sound, guys, you have a sound upgrade here. You got the Dolby Atmos and you got the Dolby True HD 7.1. You also got the DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 as well, which I think was on this super bit DVD back in the day. I think this does have the 5.1, but you got the 7.1, you got the Dolby Atmos. Sounded absolutely fantastic. Like the sound design in this film is really like maybe one of the best things about it. As far as like how they play with the sound and some of those more like thrilling sequences, suspenseful sequences. But like even just people like running like back and forth through the hallways, and you hear the foot stomps and stuff like that, the banging on the walls. Like it just has such terrific sound design that lends itself so well to that Dolby Atmos. So I'm very happy that they included that here, because I think that the audio enthusiasts that have those full like surround sound setups are going to be very happy with this audio upgrade right here. So absolutely fantastic sound. You are definitely going to be happy with that. Now getting into the Steelbook unboxing. I'm not a crazy, like, big fan of this Steelbook. I think it's okay. You know, I like Panic Room, how it's on there, how Jodie Foster, Kristen Stewart's face in there. I don't know why they cut off her face right there, why they couldn't adjust a little bit better. It's okay. It's not terrible artwork. You got the names of the people inside, which kind of goes along with the, like, opening to the film and the font work that's in the opening with the casting list and stuff like that. So it's okay. And then you got the spine right there on the Steelbook. It's a nice matte finish as well. It's not glossy or anything like that. There's also no embossing or debossing. It's just pretty straightforward matte finish. On the back, you have this kind of comic book style layout right here, which is pretty cool. Just some very stunning, like, scenes and cinematography in this film as well. Just a very, like I said, just a very well-made movie. On the inside, you do have a digital code. You've also got 3 discs. You got the 4K. You got the Blu-ray. Like I said, guys, not only do you get the 4K here, you also get the Blu-ray, which some studios are not doing that at this point, guys. So be happy when you get that kind of stuff. And then you get an additional Blu-ray with the special features. Now, let me show you the inside because that's why I took the discs out real quick. But getting into the special features, guys. So a lot of these features on here, they all look like they were from the DVD. Now, I looked on my DVD that I have right here, and I did not see any of the special features that are on this release right here. So then I was like, well, maybe this was the first DVD they put out. Maybe they put out a DVD a couple of years later that included all of the new special features. So if somebody can clarify that for me in the comment section, like where did all these special features come from? Because they're clearly not new special features. These are older special features from the DVD era. But if you know where these special features came from or what release were they on, because they were not on my DVD, let me know in the comment section below. But basically, guys, you got hours of special features here. You got 3 audio commentaries. You got a commentary with Fincher. You got a commentary with Jodie Foster, Forrest Whitaker, and Dwight Yoakam. You got a commentary with writer David Koepp and another special guest. Maybe these, did Criterion do this? Was there a laser disc? Maybe this stuff was on the laser disc back in the day. But you got pre-production features. You got post-production features that includes 21 documentaries on features and visual effects. Like, there is just so much here, guys. Hours of just talking about the production, the post-production, the actual filming process. Like, if you're interested in how this movie was made and you want to understand, like, why the 4K looks this way, or maybe it's not quite to your liking, like, I think these features will probably explain a lot of that. You got Shooting Panic Room, an hour-long documentary on the principal photography phase, makeup effects featurette, sequence breakdowns. You got Easter eggs as well. There's just so much to dig into here. The only issue is it's all in standard def, so it doesn't look great. I would have appreciated a couple of new features, but there are great features here, guys. Like, they are great, fantastic features in the set. I don't know if I showed this off yet. So regardless of what, definition they're in, there's still a lot of great information on the making of this film. And it's so much great information that they probably didn't need to do any additional features. I just always look, when you're going to do a new edition of a film, I just always appreciate something new, whether it's a 5 minutes little introduction interview with the director, some kind of special feature. I mean, David Fincher, like, worked on the restoration of this. Like, he was heavily involved in the restoration. Like, you're telling me he couldn't stop to do a 5 minute little talk about the restoration process? Maybe, again, could have shed some light on how it was done and why things were done a certain way. I just think it would be nice, to have something new. But there's great stuff here, guys. There's at least like 3 hours of special features and all of the audio commentaries, the 3 audio commentaries. So a really good amount of special features. But overall, guys, in closing, I think this is a more than solid release from Sony for Panic Room. First time on 4K and Blu-ray, and you get a ton of special features as well. They're all older features, but they are features that are included here. Nice steelbook. My only issue is I wish they would have offered a slipcover version for a little bit cheaper, but $34.49 is not a bad price for this 4K upgrade. So look, guys, I don't know like what all everybody's saying, but I recommend this 4K. I don't think you have to be apprehensive at all to get this. I think that 99% 0.5% of everybody that watches this on 4K is going to recognize that it's a solid upgrade and a definite improvement over the DVD. So thank you all so much for watching this review. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos, and we'll see you next time.